Hello there. Welcome to Tubi Tuesday. I'm Scotty. You're not. This one wasn't supposed to be reviewed until August, but I'm gonna put it up next anyway. So we're talking about Bad Moon, a werewolf movie that I had heard of, never seen, didn't really know anything about it, but I just heard people saying, "Well, Bad Wolf, it's a good werewolf movie. It's an underrated underrated werewolf movie." So when I saw it was on Tubi, I decided to give it a chance, and I'll say I had a pretty good time with it. The movie clocks in at 1 hour and 19 minutes long. That's not a bad runtime for a movie. We're going to discuss an issue with the runtime. Did my Xbox just turn back on by itself again? Yes? It's alive. Hold on. I turned it off beforehand because... off. I turned it off so that I could, because the backlash is going to happen soon. So, and by now my backlash review is already up. So, yay, Cody won. Boo, Brock Lesnar won. I don't know. Anyway, Cody should win though. Come back to this video, or just watch it when it comes out and be like, Anyway, so this tells the story of Ted, who is bitten by a werewolf when he's in another country, Africa or South America or something. He's bitten by a werewolf. He comes home, living close near where his sister lives, and the family dog named Thor is like, senses that there's something wrong with him because he's a werewolf, and it's basically, this movie is the dog. Thor is the main character. We follow the dog in most scenes. And it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, there's no dialogue. It works. It works following the dog in most scenes. It's a movie where you follow a dog. I compare it to the 101 Dalmatians live action film. I didn't care for that movie because the animals didn't talk. And you're following the animals through most of it. And I remember that being kind of meh for me. Whereas they talked in the animated film. If you're going to do a live action film. The Jungle Book. I remember the first Jungle Book adaptation with Jason Scott Lee and Carrie Elwes, I think, was in it. They didn't have any talking animals in that either. I remember that being better than the 101 Dalmatians one. But, yeah. So, we got Michael Pare, or Pare, whatever you pronounce his name, and Mariel Hemingway in this. And I swear the son is the Dennis the Menace kid from the Dennis the Menace movie that came out in the 90s with Christopher Lloyd and Walter Matthau. I don't know. It looks like him. And basically, they are the sister and nephew of Ted, who is bitten, and he moves his Airstream. Okay, it's a trailer. It's a trailer. Why do you call it an Airstream? I hear it all the time. I see it in movies and TV shows. Oh, Airstream. Just call it a trailer. Is there something wrong with calling it a trailer? It's a trailer. You hook it up to the back of your car to move it. It's a trailer. Anyway, so the movie actually starts out with a bang. Literally, they're banging. It's Ted and his girlfriend. I forgot her name. But they are going to Pound Town in a tent in South America or wherever it is. And I was... one thing that I thought of was she still has her top on. It's a button-up shirt because they're like archaeologists or something, and whatever button-up shirt thing that when you go through, and you see tits, but I was just sitting there going, why do they persist in having people wear clothes while having sex in movies? That's not realistic. You can't do that. It's uncomfortable as hell to have sex with your clothes on. Like, all they're doing is so that we don't see nude. Oh, no, there's tits right there. And then I realized that they kept the shirt on for effects purposes, So the werewolf comes up from behind, pulls her out. You don't see everything. You got the shirt to cover up down there because down there there's nothing there. And you see his ass for a second, but like, yeah. And so the werewolf comes, kills her, scratches him, doesn't bite. It's always confusing how werewolf lore works. It's a scratch or a bite, sometimes both. But as you see here, werewolf lore is thrown out the window. He goes right away, blows the werewolf's head off. Which normally has to be a silver bullet, but here it's werewolf, just a shotgun blows his head off. And there's a scene later where he's talking to his nephew, and he's like, nah, you don't need a silver bullet. You just take a shotgun and blow its head off. And doesn't have to be a full moon. It can be any moon, even though every moon in this movie is full, but you get the gist. For some reason, it's every full moon. Yeah, and then the next scene, we're introduced to the characters. Mariel Hemingway's character, who's never forgot, and his son Brett. Janet and her son Brett, and there's this guy who's trying to provoke the dog to bite him, and he says, "Oh, it bit me, I'm gonna sue you," and she calls him a flopsy, someone who provokes animals to do stuff and then sues them for money, apparently. And she's a lawyer, so she knows that kind of thing, and she's like, "You go ahead, you call a lawyer, and I'll take you to court, I'll sue you," sort of thing. And then we're introduced to Ted. Now, at this point, there have been several attacks off screen because this one guy is attacked. This park ranger dude, he gets attacked. It's a pretty good effect, but it like bites the top of the helmet he's wearing, and blood comes out. I was like, was it really that deep? Just biting the helmet? But it's a good effect. There's some decent effects. The werewolf effects in this are good to a point. There's a scene towards the end, a transformation scene. The only transformation scene we get, and I'm wondering, well, we don't see transformation scene. Horror movies are known for transformation scenes. And then they get one at the end, and you know why. I don't think it's CGI. I think it's supposed to be like gradual shots, time-lapse stuff. It's not done very well. When the werewolf's fully transformed, it looks like I had a dirt face. It's like, I'm like, something's wrong with the werewolf. It's like, or whatever. I was like, okay, something's wrong with that werewolf. But, yeah. And we found out later there's other victims that had happened, and that's off screen. And that's due to the runtime. It's an hour and 19 minutes long. And it moves at a brisk pace, and we get everything. Boom, boom, boom. It went pretty fast, and it was enjoyable. But just a few more kills. Maybe it's, budget, kind of hindered that as well. But even if it was just people getting attacked, we don't see any gore. At least we seeing these attacks. We can't really, go back to it and, later and be like if you're, say Dead Meat was the kill count in this movie, they would talk about he doesn't do anything that wasn't seen in the movie. So they'll say there was like, I don't know, 6 other victims. He won't count them because we didn't see them get killed or see them on screen, or we know people we met before. But, even if it was someone we've seen before, he'll count it. Like, oh, he's killed off screen. Oh, we met him, so, the Flopsy guy shows up later, and he's killed near the house. Because we find out, okay, this is one of the things that is iffy for me. We find out because Thor tracks Ted, because Ted goes to live, because they find the forest worker's body, in the woods, and so completely dismembered, still stuck to the tree, by the way, and so they say, hey, you can't live here, and there's gonna be a curfew, so he has to move his trailer next to the house. And so now Thor is kind of watching him, becomes sort of like a Rear Window with a dog. And I gotta give props to the dog actor in this. Primo is the name of the dog actor. Thor is the character's name of the actor. Primo. Very good dog acting. I thought it was very good. Not much animals in movies, but this is a good, movie animal. Um, I wouldn't mind showing this to my son outside of the sex scene at the beginning. There's really nothing else. I could always just, that's a pretty important part though. Maybe when he's older. I always say when you're 16, you can watch the horror movies with nudity, even though I was younger than that. So maybe when he's 16 is be one of them. I think 16, you're at a responsible age, to me. Like, if you trust your children, you know, hopefully you'll be one of those that I can trust and not a troublemaker. Although he does it with his mom, and that's why I'm worried. He's going to be more like his mom than he is me. He seems to be more like me, but that could just be around me. But who knows? Enough about my son. But yeah, so Thor is already on to something's going on, and he follows Ted into the woods. And that's when we see he's handcuffed himself. What handcuffs could hold a werewolf? It's never explained. Like, these are special handcuffs I had made of unbreakable steel or something. But no, it's just, he handcuffs himself and it holds. There's no way that would hold. You know how strong a freaking werewolf is? It would break those. And even since later, I use these so my secret won't come out, my mistress. It won't come out. But you know what? Now you know. His voice modulates at the end is a little weird. But so he doesn't need them anymore. But it's like, how did they work to begin with? How were they working to keep him from getting, I don't know. And then there's even one time that he leaves to go do that after the sunset and the moon's up, and he goes to do that and he's like, what? I did like, so when he moves in, like Thor senses or something, so Thor goes and marks his territory. He pisses on the trailer, and then after Thor gets taken away because he provokes Thor to attack him, so they take him away to the pound. Ted pisses on Thor's doghouse. Like, hey, some people might think that's weird, and but it's it's sort of a tete-a-tete, sort of a thing. Like, quid pro quo. You pissed on my house, I pissed on yours. That sort of thing. Like, he's taking over. And to a point, I think, like, how much controls the werewolf? How much control is Ted? I think it's a little bit of both. The werewolf is slowly influencing him while he's in the daytime, because pissing on the doghouse and winking to provoke him, that seems more evil. But this guy was trying to save himself. There's a phone call where it seems like he's going to kill himself, going to shoot himself. There is some kind of conflicting thing. Again, with a bigger runtime, we could have had some kind of conflict between the werewolf present inside of him and the real guy, But yeah, we get a showdown. The kid rescues Thor from the pound, and we get a showdown, and he saves the day. He knocks werewolf Ted out the window. Before this, I should mention that Janet does follow him into the woods and catches him, and that's when he transforms. Like I said, the transformation is a little iffy. There's some points I'm like, oh, that's not bad, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, and then derpy face werewolf, and they're like, no. I mean, he chases her back to the house. Thor and the kid get out to chase, and then Thor fights the werewolf, jumps out of the freaking window, and then follows him to the woods where he's back to being human. It's the next day. He's like, finish it. Kills him. It's off screen, obviously, but finishes it. And then you get this stupid ass jump scare dream thing. Okay? I'm not a fan of it was all a dream thing where back at the house and she's like, you did it. You saved us. You're a hero. And he's like, nah, it turns to werewolf. And then it was a nightmare. And then everything's happy ever after. If you're going to do that, do it. Don't be a chicken shit. I bet you someone wrote, oh, he got bit and scratched a lot during that fight. He becomes a werewolf at the end. And someone goes, no, we need a happy ending. So make it a dream sequence where he transforms and then she wakes up and it was a dream and everything's happy ever after. They didn't have, I bet you that's what it is. They didn't have the balls to end the movie like that. If it ended like that, I think it would be even better. I think it should have ended with Thor turning into a werewolf, because it would have made sense. All the bite marks and scratch marks, he succumbed and he's just bandaged up. No, it makes sense he would become a werewolf because he was bitten, scratched. Yeah, it would make sense to become a werewolf. So that ending, as weird and shocking as it would make a lot of sense. You get the happy ending is good too, I guess, but it feels like they got chicken shit and we're like, no, we gotta have a happy ending. We can't end it like that. That would have been a very bold ending that they should have just ended with it. But as it was, this is actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed this movie quite a bit. Wouldn't mind if I added this to my collection, to be honest. It is a Scream Factory, so it's going to cost me a bit of money, but eventually I want to try to get this. Werewolf films in general, like Ginger Snaps is another one I wanted to get for a while, but because I like that one. It was an interesting turn on the werewolf like this one, following a dog, and that one was like a sort of feminist movie. The second one's not bad either, but I haven't seen the third one. I just don't like the idea of prequel set in the Middle Ages thing. Why? Anyway, so what are your thoughts on Bad Moon? Comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.